Dr. Antonio B. Jones has spent his life answering the divine call to serve. Antonio is the 10th of 12 children, born to Bishop Alexander and Annie Jones Jr., who instilled a sense of humility at a young age. Antonio is an Air Force veteran, realtor, minister, and dedicated public servant, carrying a work ethic inspired by his father. Family, service, and love are his guiding principles. For more than 25 years, Antonio has been married to Amicia, who is also a Fayetteville native and public servant. Amicia works in healthcare and administration with the Cumberland County Department of Public Health. Together, they parent 2 young adult sons, Joel and Antonio. And for more than a decade, their humanitarian endeavors have led them to engage in global mission efforts and the work of economic sustainment in third world countries. Ooh, Dr. Antonio Jones, Fayetteville City Council, District 3.
Well, God bless. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your host, Dr. Antonio Jones, and we want to welcome you to another episode of Dialogue with the Doc, or some of my constituents say, that's the Dialogue with the D3 Doc. Let's change it. So I will just say both of them. But welcome again. Glad to have you here on this morning. Great show. Pastor Troy earlier. We are just grateful again for WIDU for giving us the opportunity to come on and share some pertinent information with you. And I tell you what, it's been a great month. I want all of y'all to please stay safe, stay hydrated. Please check on our elders. Check on our elders and those that need that assistance. It can be a neighbor, whatever the case may be. It's very hot. And again, just remember, your body is always perspiring. You're always losing water. You're losing water some form or fashion. So please make sure that you're hydrated, all right? And hydration, you start a day, 2 days before. So you may have anticipate losing an excessive amount of water in the days to come. Start drinking now to prepare for that. But make sure that you are definitely taking care of yourself. If you have sunscreen, please make sure that you are using that if you are on the outside. We just want to make sure that you are safe. All right, but again, God bless. As we always do, let's open up with a short prayer. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you once again to serve your people in the city of Fayetteville, specifically District 3. We thank you for those that are here on today. God, we thank you for what will be released today, what will empower and encourage everyone. We thank you now in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, today we're going to, of course, City Council is out. This particular month is vacation month. We worked very hard getting a budget in place on today. So I'm going to do a brief update. But before I do, I want to introduce someone. We're going to bring her back in. I'm going to give these updates, and then we're going to take a break, and we're going to talk to none other Miss Julia White. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're glad to have her here. So I know you all don't want to hear my voice this whole time. I don't like to hear my voice like that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into our update so we can take a break. And I want to come back and bring this young lady back who has a plethora of information. I had the privilege, I'll say this again later as well, of just following her and seeing what she's doing. So thank you so much for what you're doing for our community.
Thank you.
All right. So in regards, I'm going to make this again very quickly. Of course, you know that we did pass a balanced budget. Of course, that's by law. You have to. But we passed it. What's significant about it is with no tax increase. Budget $327 million roughly. And again, I want to state on the record again, it had pushed out there that yours truly, Antonio Jones, did not support a no tax increase budget. And again, that was simply false. Some took it and were reposted, and I was like, where did this come from? So I want you to know again, I told you this was my last time addressing it. Again, that is totally not true. The vote passed 9-1. Now, you take 2 votes, one for the initial budget once we iron out everything where we want it to be. So you take that vote as a council so that it can go officially on a meeting, which we voted on that the next week, and then again passed by those same measures, if I'm not mistaken. So again, I just like clarity, you all. Again, I don't know why that was put out there, but again, you want to know something, you come directly to me. You come directly to me. So again, just want to make that extremely, extremely clear. One of the things that I did I want to share with my constituents, and they were very appreciative. City Council, again, is tasked with policy and budget or financial issues to provide you, the citizens, a service. And so for me, I owe it to my constituents who put me in office, and then holistically Fayetteville, to scrutinize. When I say scrutinize, that's not a negative. That means to do your due diligence and ask questions, whether it's on the budgetary side or on the policy side. Those are the two major functions of a city council. And so to analyze such, that doesn't mean that you're coming against folks. Hey, I can bring up something, and they will question it, right? Because they need to. They want to know more answers, things of that nature. So that never means that you are against somebody or against something. So please discourage those type narratives. It simply means you're doing your due diligence, which if I didn't question budgetary items or policy issues, you all, my constituents, I would have questions galore, right? I already get them anyway, and rightfully so. But the thing is, that's part of my job. You put me there to scrutinize and answer these questions, so I'll do that. Secondary, as it relates to that, I'm excited to say I did put in what we call a council request. And make a long story short, a council request is sending in something that a council member wants the council to consider. And so one of the things I did was to increase our bus shelters, our bus benches, and our trash cans there. Because again, I got tired of seeing people standing in the rain, just at bus stops. It was just heartbreaking. And so one of the things I put in earlier in the year for that. So the council request, we get that as a council. We vote on it initially during a work session to say, hey, that seems like a good idea. And basically, the council request says, staff, bring us back more information. Bring us back more information so that we can dig a little further into it. And then it will come back to council for official action, if that makes sense, for the most part. So just because something like my council request got past that initial consensus, that does not always mean that once the information is received, the budgetary impacts are received, that council will approve it the next time. If you all are tracking me with that, I want to make sure that just because, again, it received initial consensus doesn't mean it's going to pass the next phase, because again, at that time, we typically don't have how much money something's going to cost or the implications, and so that's what happened. So for me, just to put that out there, I put in a request for these bus benches and things of that nature, and I'm excited to say that during our budget session, City Council, the majority did also agree with that. So guess what? You are going to see increased bus benches and trash cans out around the city. And what's key with shelters in some of the locations, typically you would have to get NCDOT permission on certain routes of those. Well, with this monies, it would target areas where we can actually put these benches and trash cans. So I'm excited to have spearheaded that because again, I worked on this, back in 2022. And again, it was beautiful because I knew council as a whole wanted this to happen. So that was received. So that council request that I put in actually turned into policy with funding. So again, look for these benches. They'll be gray in color for the most part. And so I am working on, again, the shelters. The shelters are a little different. They run roughly about $20,000 or so for the complete setup, the pad and everything. And so I just wanted to put that out there. So kudos. I know a lot of you all were wanting that done. I was honored again to spearhead that, and even honored that council took that and said, yes, it's a mandate that we can support. All right, let's give a hats out to, I want to congratulate the Broadale, Seabrook area, and especially Miss Cynthia Leaks. We got word earlier last month that the historical designation for those areas did get past the state level, and now it's on to the federal level. You all, this is incredible. Not only myself, I was part of this initial push way back a few years ago, and Miss Cynthia Leaks, just giving her props and her love. She really pushed that along with another team. You'll hear more about that later, but this historical designation is huge, and I am grateful, thankful that I was able to be a part. Seabrook Bridell is coming forth, but wait, there's more. There's more. Miss Brooks, not Miss Brooks, I'm thinking about somebody, Miss Leaks also submitted. She wanted to expand that area, and so she put forth some information, and I was able again to help push and explain this to council at an earlier meeting so that that application could get pushed forth to the state. And I'm grateful again, City Council did approve that, and so her efforts to expand that is en route again. It's a several-year process, so it's not anything that happens overnight, but I just want to give her her props, and thank you so much, and the entire team for doing that. Caveat to that, the historical designation, it won't negatively affect the residents that live there, simply meaning they can still make modifications to their home, do what they want to. It's a federal designation, all right, federal designation. The only time that would come into play is if they want specific historical tax credits, and then of course some things will put into play, but it does not negatively affect the area. So congratulations again, and I am grateful to have been a part of that years ago. Next, I want to address the rezoning that was at Whispering Pines. Whispering Pines is right up the road from us. Whispering Pines Mobile Home Park. It also affected potentially Hillendale West area, and some other areas within that scope. To make a long story short, Steel Fab, which is right here along Country Club Drive, wanted to expand their operations there, and so they put in for a rezoning. It was rezoned last year to what we call LI, light, and they wanted it to be HI, which is heavy industrial. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is just make sure all of our communities were protected. There's a lake bed back there in the area, the end of Distribution Drive, there at Roses Lake, which abuts to Hillendale West. And there's also a buffer there, which we call a a conservation district that lies there as well. And then there are trees of buffers, and then there is the area that they wanted to initially rezone. Where that area also expanded, it was a total of about 123 acres. It also expanded, if you know where Lake Crest is, in the West Area Heights area, coming along Country Club Drive, there, that wooded area, and then it would push back. They wanted all of that rezoned. So one of the things for me is, okay, if you don't need the area, why get it rezoned? All right. So one of the issues that came out, which was an opportunity in the UDO, the applicant basically stated, you know what, it was one of the major issues was a issue of storage, long-term versus short-term as it relates to LI and HI. So that was an opportunity that I've already addressed with staff that we possibly could look at, staff could look at and bring it to council at some point, looking at the UDO to say, hey, what is it within the LI designation and the HI designation as it relates to storage that we may could possibly tweak so that individuals don't have to apply for that HI. And HI, Ms. Julia, is it basically anything that falls within that zoning area, you could build. Okay. You may want to build this, but anything within there. So I'm really cautious. I'm just really mindful when I hear that. So just wanted to give some update on that. In short, you'll hear me talk about this later. The Conservation District, I do want to share something with you. That Conservation District is not a state designation, it's not a federal designation, it is a city standard, a city designation. And it's basically there to protect some areas of that particular area. Designation, a clear designation here. They are allowed to build there, just not certain things. What are they allowed to be? Anybody, not just them, anybody in those efforts. Parks, things of that nature that would basically help preserve the area. So I wanted to provide some distinction there. Secondly, there was a question in regards to when the notices went out to everyone. The notices actually went out on June 30th. They were mailed. You have 10 to 25 days per state statute to get them sent out. They were sent out on June 30th. And one of the things the city has, many of you don't know, we have a checks and balance there that actually we have notarized. Say like if you were the individual sending out the notices, it would have to be notified when you are sending those things out. So that is actually certified. So it is certified that June 30th, these notices went out. What sometimes would happen, we're dealing with mail. I had got some mail yesterday from someone that is 2 miles from me. Went to Greensboro first, and you know, the track, and then it got to me. So we know that's an issue, so that may be an opportunity. But I wanted to provide some clarity there that those notices did go out on June 30th. Also, as it relates to ownership, I wanted to share something here. I'm in real estate, so I know a little about this. There's something called an affidavit of ownership. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail there, but basically, that's where an applicant, in this case, Steel Fab, they can put in and say, hey, we want to put in for this zoning request. We don't own the land yet. However, to make sure that we can utilize the land in which we want to make sure before we buy it that we can do that. This is no different than a small business, and I'm talking about procedurally, than a small business that's doing the same thing. So that affidavit basically says the applicant can stand in the place of that owner to put in that particular request. And so the beautiful thing about this, and I'll leave this and I'll go on later, again, the applicant stated publicly that they're not building a data center. They stated that it was an expansion of their current operations. And for me, this was big because I'm very engaged with Whispering Pines. We have a great community watch group, great manager. So right beside them is Steel Fab. They have their area there, and noise has been an issue. So what the applicant stated, they wanted to move a lot of that to the very back, of their property that they're looking to get rezoned, which would reduce some of that noise. So Whispering Pines was very amenable to that. So for our other neighborhoods, again, the applicant at the zoning commission did agree to shorten that area that they wanted to be rezoned just for the area that they wanted to expand, which is key because now the area along Country Club, the other part of the 123 acres would in essence remain LI, light industry, which what they rezoned for last year. That is key to me. So for me, I wanted to make sure my neighborhoods were protected, the lake bed was protected, and to make sure that again, Whispering Pines, Hillendale West, especially Whispering Pines. Just let me say that, and I have my reasons for that they were protected as well. All of my area is excellent. So thank you for those that went out to the Zoning Commission meeting. I thank you. And again, let me share something as we move on and get ready to go to our break in just a moment. I don't attend those meetings. I was a vice chair on one of these meetings, and to me, we can do it as citizens. We can attend those meetings. But for me, Ms. Julia, I don't attend zoning and planning meetings, not why I am in this seat, because I just don't like the image it could portray. I remember some councilmen coming in during my time, and we always wonder, well, why are you here? Are you pushing for? Are you pushing against? It can just bring some unjust pressure. And this is Antonio speaking for Antonio. And so, number two, I have access to the exact same agenda that they have, so I know what's going on. I can read through, I can ask staff questions. Number three, I never want to, and this is Antonio, I never want to give the impression to the applicant that I'm for or against something. I don't like engaging. For me, I don't do that because it's eventually going to come to council, if that makes sense. Number four, the individuals on these committees are appointed by council. Let them do their work. Let them do their work and bring it to us. It will eventually get there. So that's one reason I've explained to my district, you won't see me at planning or zoning meetings for the most part. And number five is just, to me, it's not a best practice. And from the legal advisement was the same, that it's just not advisable. So that's just how I operate in that particular area. So I just wanted to bring some clarity to that. So again, the Conservation District, you all, is not a federal or state designation at all. This is a city zoning area that basically severely limits what can be built there. Something can be built there in the form of public space, green space, parkways, something protective. So I want to provide that clarity. So it's not nothing can be built there. It definitely, something can be built there in the botanical realm. But again, the goal is, if it's there, if you're asking for a rezoning, that it stays there. It stays there. Could it potentially be rezoned? Absolutely, it could. So I just wanted to provide that distinction. All right, very quickly, Rose Hill Road updates. If you go along Rose Hill Road from the Ramsey Street area, you will see some signs. You will see some signs. I've advocated for this. As you all know, there is a study that's still ongoing there. That's in the hands of some consultants, things of that nature. And so one of the things I knew that we had an opportunity for was for signage, for the curb there, and just for some of the other driveways that are entering into entering into Rose Hill Road. So if you go through there now, here are some of the updates that you will see. You will see double stop signs on some of those roads that are intersecting into T-boning into Rose Hill Road. You will see big blocks of white lines there that you will see at a stoplight telling you to stay behind. You will also see some additional signage which basically says, hey, Miss Julia has a house here, or there's a residential entrance here. So you'll see some signs, and I know I'm not good at doing things, but you'll see some signs. It'll have a solid black block, may have a line coming off here, one coming off the right, and basically there are designations to say, hey, there are driveways or areas that are coming onto the road to give drivers awareness. Next, there are also directional arrows there. This is one of the things that I pushed for. Directional arrows, you'll see that they're yellow. They have arrows pointing to the curb on this side, going down Rose Hill and coming up. So one of the other things that I am advocating for is for those things to be lighted. Solar lights where they flash when you're coming around to help guide you. All right? Next, as it relates to the roundabouts, as you all have known, there's been updates on the roundabouts on Rose Hill Road. They did trim some of the margins, some of the cement medians, so that you can enter in fairly smooth. They are doing what they're supposed to do, which is slowing traffic. So I'm watching that and making sure that, again, this is a no 18-wheeler, no truck area. So I'm making sure that our police department are aware of that as well. Lastly, as it relates to Rose Hill Road, Kingdom CDC will be developing a new neighborhood, a new development there, 15 homes on Autumn Drive, and these are attainable homes, affordable homes, which is powerful, and I know you can speak to that. You can speak to that. That's why I'm excited. I'm trying to hurry up so I can get her on, if you all can tell. But there will be 15 homes built there by Kingdom CDC. We're excited about that. Affordable home, single family home. So we are excited about that. And let's pull this in. Data centers, we know there will be a hearing coming up soon in the second week of August. Make sure that you're there if you have an opinion about it. I want to state, of course, City Council, some of City Council visited some data centers for, again, Antonio Jones. I keep my folks informed. This was not a secret for my folks. They knew that I was going to look. So these were smaller, though. So in all transparency, they were smaller than what I think that we would see. They were basically within 5,000 square feet, smaller. The largest one we saw was roughly about 4 megawatts with a max of 12. While it gave some information, for me, I think what we possibly would be looking at here was something larger. So while it served its purpose, the bigger scope, it didn't provide the information that was needed. Because, of course, as one of the data center operators said, the larger you go, you're going to need water. You're going to need electric. So he was very candid, and I appreciate that. And he just said, you know what, just make sure that, you know, they invest in the safer technology. So, again, just wanted to let you know there, I am still at this time, a moratorium for us to get this thing right. We did a pause on a moratorium. It was not a moratorium. It was a pause on a moratorium. So these 4 months that we've had, that wasn't a moratorium period, just to be clear. That wasn't a moratorium period. And so I know some things may be being done to help answer some questions, which I honestly respect, and I appreciate our staff and others for doing so. But again, just to be clear, that was not a moratorium. Lastly, As it relates to NCT updates, I need to say this very quickly. There has been some updates on Ramsey Street and also for Murchison Road. If you can go look this up on NCDOT site, the Ramsey Street project is called U4403, and the Murchison Road is called U4900 or 4900. In short, there will be these projects look alike, Miss Julia. Murchison Road is slated to be again 4-lane highway with the median, a large multi-purpose walkway, which is basically a double sidewalk on one side, sidewalk on the other side. So I'm excited about that. I'll touch on that. Ramsey Street, which is a little ways off from us there, probably the next 6 years. It will look similar to it, except it will be 6 lanes with a median, the multi-purpose lane. If you're familiar with Ramsey Street, that multi-purpose lane would be on the side of where Wendy's is. So basically a double sidewalk. Here's the thing, I'm gonna leave it here because I'm gonna do some more some more research. I did find out Murchison Road project has been stalled. I'm greatly disappointed. And I'll share about this later as I get more information as we get ready to go into break. But again, there were extensive community meetings leading back 2021, before then 2022, and they gave their input. DOT listened. They changed some aspects of the project, especially at the Country Club, Pamela intersection there at Hardee's, and they changed some aspects and going forward. So this was supposed to be let or for construction, meaning out for bid and in the process. But I did recently find out that it was stalled because of a lawsuit put on NCDOT by PwC. So I am looking into that because I am extremely disappointed. I want to know some specifics. I know it's in litigation mode, so there's not maybe much we can do. But for that area of Murchison Road, they already feel as if they have been disinvested, and historically you can definitely see that. So I definitely want to find out, why are we stalling this project? NCDOT made it very clear they are ready to go. And so there's one thing that I will be sharing with my community and definitely advocating for. Again, I'm on the city side, so it's only so much I can do since this is between those two individuals. However, I want my residents to know, especially along Northern Murchison Road, this is something I am going to be pushing for. I'm not letting go because, again, they made it very clear this was supposed to already been started. The right-of-ways have been purchased. They're ready to rock and roll. So what I don't want to happen, Ms. Julia, as we go into a break, I don't want them to retract this money and say, well, if we can't get it done, let's invest somewhere else. We see the investments being done on Rayford Road. We see along Gillis Hill Road, and now we see that what's coming to Ramsey Street, which again, in essence, is the exact same project. So it deals with, again, relocating utilities along that corridor. That's the sticking point. So I'm going to be bringing that to council. Again, I don't know what we can do in that regards. However, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, and I know the agency has their rationale for things, but I want to know, just to make sure, why now when that was set to go. All right, you've been listening to you've been listening, to WIDU 1600 AM Dialogue with the Doc. We're going to take a short break, and I'm going to yield the rest of this time to my patient guest, Miss Julia White. God bless.
School districts across North Carolina are adjusting menus and safety protocols in response to the growing cyclospora outbreak. Durham Public Schools and Wake County Public School System, for instance, have temporarily removed fresh produce such as lettuce from cafeterias. Iran has attacked a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing its crew to abandon the ship. That came early this morning, even as the United States conducted yet another round of airstrikes targeting the Islamic Republic over control of a key waterway. Tropical storm Bertha formed in the Gulf and is expected to continue on its track westward from Florida's panhandle to Texas. After 2 deadly shootings in Asheville in less than a week, Mayor Esther Manheimer is responding to how the city is handling a pattern of late-night gun violence and what residents should expect to happen next. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Cumberland County, in partnership with the City of Fayetteville government and community partners, will open cooling centers on Tuesday, July 21st. Residents without access to air conditioning may visit a cooling center during normal business hours to stay cool and safe. When temperatures are high and extreme heat is in the forecast, remember the following safety measures. Drink plenty of water, stay in air-conditioned spaces when possible, avoid direct sun exposure during peak heat hours. Healthy meals help power summer adventures. Cumberland County Schools School Nutrition Services is offering free summer meals for children ages 18 and younger. Meals may be available Monday through Friday until July 31st. Children must be present and meals must be eaten at the site. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Starting out warm and muggy after some of those showers and storms that passed through yesterday. Today we're hotter. Temperatures make it well into the 90s, and we'll see some isolated showers and storms developing later in the day, most of which to our north, but scattered storms will last us into at least portions of the overnight before weakening. Highs 90 to 95 Wednesday, shower and storm chances increasing from north as we head into the evening and nighttime hours. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hoke, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to WIDU 1600 AM, and you are tuning in to Dialogue with the Doc, or Dialogue with the D3 Doc. I'm your host, District 3 Representative Dr. Antonio Jones, Dr. J, and I'm joined here today by none other than Miss Julia White. She's been patiently waiting with us here. We're going to bring her in. So thank you all for letting me do that update as we transition in, and I will end with this. I know you all have heard the talks about the E911 consolidation with county and city, and so we did vote to move forward with that. It was never an issue of whether we wanted to. It was just trying to figure out some intricate details. And again, I encourage you to follow that throughout. So one of the things was, again, we had an agreement in place to June 30th to make some things in place. We had got word of some information of a possible bill being attached that would force us, for lack of a better word, to do that. And so we, at the end of the day, we decided, again, to move forward. I do want to make something clear. We had a small group, and we wanted to make sure that we brought in an integrator that would basically pull these services together. And one of the things we did, we meaning the city, we wanted to have this integrator to say, you know what, while you're giving us best practices, also let us know who should run it. That was not amendable to do that way. To me, I wanted that because we would hear from a third party, who do you think should run the actual consolidated effort. And so that was denied, as we didn't get that opportunity to do that. Was not agreeable. So we don't have that. So I just wanted to make that extremely clear. All right, but I'll leave that alone because the time now belongs to Ms. Julia White of Reentry and Community Solutions. Welcome again, and could you introduce yourself and let our listening audience know who you are?
Well, thank you for having me, inviting me on your platform. My name is Julia White, and I am the Executive Director of RCS, Reentry Community Solutions. So just a little bit about me. My background is social work. I'm also a peer support specialist in CADC. But what we do is we help justice-involved individuals, our returning citizens, people who are experiencing homeless, our unhoused population, transition back into the community or try to set them up for success. Not only do I do that, I also serve on our Fayetteville Senior Citizen Advisory Council, making sure that we're advocating as well for our older adults and making sure their voices are also being heard.
Outstanding. And that's key because today, if I'm not mistaken, I was going to go there's a reentry
Yes,
I want to say a
today.
model today that basically would take individuals through what that looks like. I did one of those several times when I was serving as vice chair on the Cumberland County Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, which comes from the state DPS. But it is a real life, in your face, realistic simulation.
Stimulation, yes.
I love it because it lets you know, people will assume a lot,
They
right?
will.
Because some things, when I found out, I was like, wow, because you hear people say, and you can speak to this,
Yes.
why don't they just do this? Why can't they just do that? I would just get a job. It's not that easy.
It's
And
not.
let me say this, I mean this wholeheartedly, and I can just discern your care for people. I really can.
Yes, I really do.
Any of you, let me speak to this camera, any of you have made mistakes and missteps in your life. Some people have gone on to be judges, lawyers, elected officials. They've come federal, state, local level. All of you have overcome your missteps. Why then do we have a tendency to try to knock people because they made a misstep and as if they cannot change? Some won't, unfortunately. Some will. However, they still deserve the opportunity. If any of us, and the Bible says, y'all know who I am, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Bible makes it very clear. That's what I live by. If we were held accountable for every little thing that we've done, it's basically said we would be out of here. None of us would be worth. So what you're doing as it relates to reentry is key, because that's a great opportunity.
Yes.
Great opportunity, because again, folks want to work, right? You want to help reduce crime levels consistently. Let's produce some jobs, allow individuals to work. And so again, if I have my own thoughts about that, I understand not working in certain aspects. I do understand that. At the same time, having that label placed on you to limit you, I have some questions about that, because again, we have individuals that have gone on, did some great things outside of that, and some folks, I'll just leave it there. There's some opportunities. All right, so how did you get started in reentry? I'm gonna come off of that.
Yes. So I got started. It really became personal for me because I had a family member, which was my brother, who was incarcerated for a long amount of time. And I just saw when he came home, the barriers he faced, the challenges he faced, just remembering that, how hard it was for my parents to try to find support for him. Back then, especially, it was no resources. There was nobody to talk to, It's just, it wasn't a thing then. So now, many years later, I'm seeing people experiencing, other families, other individuals experiencing the same thing. They don't know where to go or who to talk to, or there are resources. Now, there are amazing people out here, organizations that are doing stuff in the city, but it does need to be a lot more visibility on that. And I'm coming from the family side of it, so I wanted to shed a light on that side too as well, because those people, sometimes they don't know what to do for their loved ones when they're in a situation like that.
Absolutely, and I commend you, because again, there are a lot of organizations that are doing some things. So one of the things I often encourage organizations to do, and we do it through city programming where we provide funding, the micro grants, community safety grants. We have a plethora of opportunities to support organizations to do that. No one organization can do it all.
That's right.
We have to work together. And one of the things we have to do, not saying this exists, you all, I'm just speaking just in general, we have to make sure that if we have to work together in any capacity, it's never about us. It's about the individuals that are before us, the populations that we are dealing with. That's what we have to go back to. Who is it about? It's not about me. And so I love that particular aspect, because again, we have a lot of opportunity to do some things. And again, it's tedious work. I know you know more than me. I know you know that more than me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't keep trying, keep pushing into it.
That's
So
right.
I commend your hard work. I see the progression, and I love what I'm seeing. And again, today is your day. This is why you're here. This is your day. So I'm tooting your horn for that.
Thank you.
And with everything you've said, then what are some things that you would like to accomplish, or what are some of your goals that you want to see?
I just want to be known as like an organization that truly cares. You know, we want to make sure that we are helping as many people and families that we can, just making sure that we expand more on our outreach with the youth, especially making sure we can have more programs that we can run, just making ways where we can help more people in the community do more things for the community. That's our biggest, like, what we want to accomplish with doing this.
Absolutely, and I love how you brought in some of your whys early on, because all of us, anybody that has an organization, there's some sort of why, right? There's lived experience aspect, there's whether I'm indirectly affected aspect, whatever it is, there is a why behind it. And so for me, it's not I experienced this, so I'm better suited. I mean, I see some logic in there. What I'm getting at is this: let's get into a place holistically, folks. Holistically, whether it's reentry, whether it's something else, it doesn't matter. I'm talking to myself as well. Let's start really valuing what people bring to the table, the different perspectives, and what you're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're in this space. I'm in this space, and not necessarily being siloed, but in the effect, I value you're doing this piece. So if I'm doing a piece of that, you can't, Miss Julia White, you can't even get every citizen through your programs. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So they're going to go somewhere.
Yes.
And if I have a program, I can't get them all. They may come to you. So the point is, can we get the work done?
Right, exactly.
That's
what
my
it's
point
about.
with it.
Yes. I agree. That's very important. I mean, I'm all for collaboration. I think it's really important. Like you said, one organization can't do it by themselves, and so that's really important.
Yeah, and we need organizations like you all. When I say we, on the city level, government cannot do it all. They are one partner, one piece of that intricate puzzle, and as we're seeing, community is very, very key. I had an older individual, young lady, spoke to me, and she made it very clear, and I said, I 100% agree. She said, our communities, regardless of what your community is, your community has to take its place in these processes, in getting these things done. Government is going to do government. They can only do but so much. The community then has to grab that. So this is why I love grassroots efforts, not the only, but I love grassroots efforts as well, because again, you all have a connection to the community that, say, for me sitting in this seat, I can only get but so far. Man, I'm grassroots to the nth degree. Now, I can tell you all some stories when I was with the state and had a staff overseeing almost 24 counties or so of our 100. So I'm definitely grassroots. I've been in some areas. I have no issues talking with someone on any economic level, educational level, color of their skin, regardless. I have no issue doing that. Also, I'm a realist. I understand the seat that I'm sitting in now, I can be seen different. Now you're part of the government. So I understand that. So what can we do? We can support you all. So what does that community engagement look like for you? Because again, I know you meet individuals from all walks of life, different stories. I know they tug on your heart too.
Yes, they do. It's so many people that just really need support if they need help. But one of the great things I would say, what we do help with is we do help get them housed. We do transitional housing. We also run a GRIT workforce program.
Yes.
Yes, so we run it at Dismas Charity. Shout out to Dismas. That one is like 6 weeks. But we had so many people calling that needed jobs, so we started doing it in the community. So we do a 3-day program there at the Day Resource Center, getting people jobs, job readiness. So we help them with, applications, resumes, and things like that. Shout out to Christine Jerome. She helps me with that part. So she plays an important role with making it successful, but just getting them on the spot hiring. So we get them prepared, we take them to orientation, and they get the opportunity to get hired on the spot. So that's some of it. Then we also do we help GED prep, so we help like our youth and stuff like that with GED prep. So making sure, especially the ones that are just involved, making sure that they're comfortable, before they go onto the campus to take that test.
That's good.
So we do that for the youth and the adults, and then linkage to, of course, mental health services and substance use services. Because that's important. That plays a huge role sometimes. And if people have the right support, that can help reduce recidivism in the community. So just making sure we're setting them up with the right support systems.
Absolutely. I love what you said. And here's a note that someone said. I had the pleasure of helping to set up the Day Resource Center back in 2022. We provided funding for that back then. So, I mean, and when I'm bringing that out because there's a process to everything, and it sounds like even through your program, the GRIT program, what are some of the things that you all discuss in those particular programs?
So we talk about triggers, we talk about, boundaries on the workforce, conflict resolution on the workforce.
That's key.
Yes, it
That's
is.
key.
We teach them how to do resignation letters and things like that because they also, sometimes people just quit jobs and are like, no, you can't do that,
Right.
It's a proper way of doing things. So things like that, we just try to make sure they have that confidence when they go into the job and kind of know how to handle the situations when they're in them.
I appreciate that because that's you're figuring if I'm just as involved, there's a stigma that I'm already dealing with, some unjustly because again, people make mistakes all the time. They don't live by them. I mean, there are consequences to everything. Not saying that. At the same time, at what point do you rise above that?
Right.
If it's truly a place of rehab, and what place can I reintegrate back into society and become a productive member of that same society? You'll always have individuals, and I'll say this plainly and bluntly, you'll always have people. You'll have people that want to see you down. They want to see you fail. They want to see if you've already fallen. They want to see you not get up. So you have to rise above that. So I love how your programs seem like it grabs that and grabs you and say, hey, you are somebody.
That's right.
You are somebody. I see the
right.
potential in you. You made a mistake. Let's move past. Knowing you're going to have detractors always around you. That's
Yes.
not going anywhere, regardless if you were just as involved or not. Let me just say that.
Exactly.
They're gonna be there. So for you to grab that part, that to me, that builds an individual up and say, you know what, I can do this, because they're already dealing with some things. They're already dealing with some things. But to have someone like you're sitting before me, your program to say, hey, I believe in you.
Yes.
What have you seen in that regards as when I know you have examples where individuals say, like, you're really for me?
Yeah.
Can you kind of speak to that a little?
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of times, they'll come and tell me, thank you, how much they appreciate me. I've had people, even, put me to the side and break down and cry because they just needed somebody to listen to them or hear, what they have going on. They show up for me when I'm out here in the community doing things just to let me know that they appreciate everything that I'm doing for them and for the community. So I definitely get a lot of that.
Gotcha. So, someone wants to meet the great Miss Julia White. What upcoming events do you have where there's an opportunity for them to meet you and just learn more about what you're doing?
So if you want to meet me, you can always catch me at the Day Resource Center. But we do have an amazing community event coming up this Saturday, 2 to 5 at Festival Park. I'm really super, super excited about this. It's for the kids, it's for families. It actually was a good friend of mine's idea. His name is Gary Stocks, but he called me and said, hey, I want to do something for the kids before they go back to school, so can you help me organize it and put it together? And I was like, sure, let's do it, So we got a lot of entertainment, music, stage performances, vendors, food trucks, free food for the kids. We got a lot of back to school giveaways that's going to be out there. I also want to shout out the people who were behind the scenes, doing a lot of things like Uncle Carl, him and Jermaine Northfleet. They are always in the community doing stuff.
They are.
They're going to be out there serving the food. Shout out to Josh 6U Foundation and Tailor Made by Tay. They put together a lot of the stage performances that you guys are going to see. We've got talent shows for the kids. There's also going to be fashion shows, all kind of performances that's going to be on that stage. So shout out to them as well. Shout out to Corey. He provided a lot of bouncy houses for the kids, which is really awesome. And just, video everything, capturing all those moments. I just don't want to I want to make sure that I don't miss anybody. So shout out to everybody, like the DJs, the hosts, the entertainers, the performers. Shout out to Fayetteville Police Department for also coming out there. They're setting up, I believe, as a vendor as well. Shout out to our security officers. Shout out to just everyone who participated, who wanted to come together and make this an awesome, awesome event. Shout out to you for letting me come on here again to talk about this. So yes, it's going to be great. You guys pull up Festival Park this Saturday, 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. Bring your kids and have a great time.
Absolutely. So what is your contact information? How can they learn more about your services and programs?
So, yes, so you guys can follow me on Facebook. It's Reentry Community Solutions, RCS. Also, you can email info.rcs@gmail.com. You can call me directly. I'm old school, so you can call 910-703-7776. And again, I'm at the Day Resources. The Day Resource Center, that's 128 South King Street. You can come there Monday through Friday. Just ask for Miss White, and I will make sure I can get those services you need and point you in the right direction.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and those are some of what you stated are some of the areas that I know I want to focus on, and I'm sure most of the council wants to focus on. Job creation,
yes.
Meaningful job creation for individuals locally. We want folks here to be able to work, investing in the trades, things of that nature. We have some great partnerships, Fayetteville Tech, some other areas, Fayetteville Tech, Fayetteville State relationships, things of that nature, but providing opportunities, the violence prevention aspect.
Yes.
All of these things come together, just to let you know. So thank you for letting individuals know, even if they are not just as involved, that
yes.
someone cares about you. But those that are, especially that are just as involved, it's not the end of the world all the time. You can rebound. You can become successful. Again, we have proven
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
On the federal, state, local level, you have individuals from all walks of life who have had mistakes.
Yes.
Missteps, and they've gone on to do some great things, and so it can happen. So I just want to make that very, very clear. So thank you again for joining us here on today. Look forward to it. You all
Yes.
heard it Saturday. What time is it?
2 o'clock, 2 to 5 p.m.
2 to
this
5
Saturday.
p.m. Festival
Yes.
Park. So again, thank you so much. You've been listening to WIDU 1600 AM. We're thankful for our great engineer on today. God bless you, sir. Thank you again, ma'am, for being with us. And of course, the
Thank you,
district,
yes.
city of Fayetteville. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your representative. Again, I'll provide additional information on the items that I stated earlier. I want to give a brief overview, but thank you so much for tuning in with us on today with Dialogue with the Doc. Join us every third Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I say that because I have individuals from across the pond, as they say, that are tuning in. But thank you so much. And again, continue to keep Weston family in prayer, and again, continue to keep our district in prayer, as well as the great city of Fayetteville. This is Dr. Antonio Jones, your District 3 representative, saying, guess what? I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. God bless.